The longships came like dragons from the sea, their prows cutting through grey waves, carrying warriors hungry for silver and land. We hear the sagas of Viking fury, unstoppable raiders, axes splitting shields, monasteries burning under a cold northern sky, but that's only half the story. The Viking Age was also a tale of defeat. Brave people stood against the storm, learned, adapted, and fought back. They proved the Vikings were not gods but men, and men can be beaten. These defenders had no magic weapons, just discipline, knowledge of their lands, and the will to protect their homes. They learned to think like their enemies and turn Viking strengths against them. When faced with organized resistance, the Vikings' weaknesses were exposed. The hunters became the hunted. Through battles like Edington, we'll see true strength comes from preparation, knowledge, and unshakable discipline. In 878, Wessex stood alone. The great heathen army, led by Guthrum, swept across England. King Alfred was forced to hide in the marshes of Somerset. To the Vikings, it seemed victory was near. The last English king lost in the fog, but Alfred was not defeated. The marshes became his fortress. From Athelney, he sent messengers to rally his people. In secret, Alfred gathered farmers, blacksmiths, and villagers, preparing for a final stand. When the time was right, Alfred emerged as king at the head of an army. At Egbertstone, his men rallied. The fate of Wessex and England would be decided on the battlefield he chose. The Anglo-Saxon army at Edington was no mob. It was a disciplined shield wall. Shoulder to shoulder, shields overlapping, they formed a living fortress. Each man fought for the one beside him. Their strength was unity. The Vikings charged, expecting to break the line as before, but the shield wall held, absorbing the shock like a cliff against a wave. The air filled with the clash of steel and the cries of the wounded. The Saxons did not break. Their spears jabbed out from the wall. The battle raged for hours, a brutal test of stamina and will. The Vikings, used to quick raids, began to tire. Alfred's men, fighting for their home, found new strength. Slowly, the tide turned. The Viking charge faltered. Gaps appeared. The Saxons pushed forward. The shield wall became a weapon, grinding the Vikings back. Panic spread among the Danes. Their formation broke. The disciplined Anglo-Saxons unleashed their fury, shattering the great heathen army. The legend of Viking invincibility was broken. Decades after Edington, the struggle continued. Vikings from Northumbria broke a truce, raiding deep into Mercia. Laden with loot, they began their journey home, unaware of the trap ahead. King Edward and Ethelfled, Alfred's children, anticipated their move. English armies from Wessex and Mercia converged, blocking river crossings and escape routes. The Vikings, trapped near Tettenhall, realized too late they were surrounded. Their heavy wagons slowed them. There was no escape. Forced to fight, the psychological advantage was gone. The English attacked from all sides. The battle was swift and brutal, a slaughter. Viking kings and jarls fell. The army was destroyed. The victory at Tettenhall was overwhelming. It proved the strength of Alfred's legacy strategy, speed and control of the land. The defenders had learned and now dominated the battlefield. Tettenhall was won before swords were drawn, by controlling the environment. Edward and Ethelfled seized river crossings, turning the landscape into a weapon. The rivers that once carried Viking ships now trapped them. This was not about fighting harder, but smarter. The English response had evolved, no longer reactive, but proactive and unified. Fortified towns, shared intelligence, and rapid movement made the trap possible. The Viking defeat was catastrophic, their leadership wiped out in a day. The English had become organized, determined, and strategically brilliant. The victory sent a message. The age of easy Viking conquest was over. The rivers ran red, but they also carried hope. The dream of a unified England was within reach. The defenders' minds had turned the tide. The legend of Viking dominance was fading. The victories at Edington and Tettenhall weren't about better weapons. They were about better thinking. The true weapon was knowledge, Alfred's mastery of the marshes, Edward and Ethelfled's control of rivers. The Vikings' strength was opportunism and speed, but the English took away their surprise. Discipline was key. The shield wall's resilience outlasted Viking ferocity. This discipline was forged in training, not just battle. Alfred rebuilt a military system valuing patience and endurance. The English learned to change the terms of the fight. By controlling the environment and maintaining discipline, they neutralized Viking strengths. The halt of the Viking advance was a victory of mind over might. Strategy, preparation, and unity triumphed over chaos. The defenders rewrote the story of the Viking age. Their greatest weapon was their mind. The lessons of these battles echo in survival today. In the wilderness, raw strength isn't enough. Knowledge, preparation, and discipline matter most. Your mind is your greatest tool. Preparation is key. Carry the right gear. Learn essential skills before you need them. Like Alfred in the marshes, use your time to plan and think ahead. Know your environment. Read the land, find resources, and work with nature. Knowledge transforms chaos into opportunity. Discipline is vital. Panic is as deadly as any enemy. The shield wall's strength was collective trust and calm under pressure. In survival, it's the discipline to stop, think, and act wisely that saves lives. The inner shield wall, mental strength, separates those who endure from those who are lost. The story of the defenders is a lesson in resilience. Survival belongs to those who prepare, adapt, and stand firm. The shield wall endures in history and in life. The Viking sagas celebrate strength and glory, but the fields of Edington and Tettenhall tell a deeper truth. Victory belongs to the prepared, to those who plan, adapt, and execute under pressure. The heroes who halted the Vikings were ordinary people led by extraordinary minds. This lesson extends beyond battlefields. It's a principle of all human achievement. The environment is not just a backdrop, but a force to be harnessed. True strength is internal knowledge, strategy, and discipline. These qualities are forged in hardship and more valuable than steel. The story of the shield wall reminds us the most powerful resources are within. Let's honor both the courage of the raiders and the wisdom of the defenders. In the lone king's return and the victories that followed, we find hope. No storm is unstoppable. No night endless. Survival belongs to those prepared to stand their ground and fight for the dawn.